Well, hello, welcome to episode 153 of the Confident Live Marketing Show. In today's episode, we're talking about how to get started with Ecamm Live, which I have to say is my favorite live video tool. And I thought, I could talk about this myself, but I thought it'd be much more fun and much more interesting if I got a real expert in when it comes to Ecamm Live. And I couldn't think of anyone better than my good friend, Adrian Salisbury. Welcome to the show. Adrian, how are you doing?
Hey, really good, Ian. Great to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you. I'm excited to see you here because you've been on the show before, but a long, long time ago.
Yeah. I've been waiting for my invite back, but...
Well, it has to be said, like there aren't many people who have let back on.
Is that right?
No, it's not that. But no, it's great to have you. And we're going to talk about how to get started with Ecamm Live, because I know some people listening and watching will have used Ecamm Live before. Some may have heard of it. Some, maybe experts. But we're going to look at how you get started. And also, you have a great way that people can learn how to use Ecamm Live coming up very soon. It's the Ecamm Live Academy, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that in the future. So I can see we've got some live viewers joining. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. If you are watching the replay, do put #replay in the comments. That would be great. And of course, you can check out the podcast at iag.me/podcast. Well, Adrian, it's time to get on with the main part of the show. So I'm going to press record on the podcast recording machine, and we'll get on with it. So we'll see you in a bit. Hello and welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show. In today's episode, we're talking about how to get started with the live video streaming tool Ecamm Live. My guest today is Adrian Salisbury. We're going to dig in. We're going to find out how you can get started to do some really cool things. So let's do it now.
Welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Helping you level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of confident live video.
Optimize your mindset and communication and increase your confidence in front of the camera.
Get confident with the tech and gear.
And get confident with the content and marketing.
Together, we can go live!
Well, hello. Welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show. This is episode 153. I don't know how I managed to get to that number, but we're still going, and it's great fun. In the last few episodes, we've been going through lots of different live video tools. We've looked at a new tool from Wave Video. We've been looking at StreamYard and Restream and all these things, but it's about time that we look at pretty much my favorite live video tool. And it's the one that I use every single episode on this show. It is Ecamm Live. So I can't wait to talk about this. Well, it's not really me that's going to be talking about it today, because I've got my good friend Adrian Salisbury to come on, who is the expert when it comes to Ecamm Live. So let's just find out a little bit more about Adrian. Adrian helps entrepreneurs and business owners around the world stand out by looking more professional on video. And if you are watching, you will see how professional his video is. If you're listening to the podcast, you're just going to have to imagine. But with a focus on live streaming, Adrian runs the official Ecamm Live training, which has seen more than 1,500 attend his most highly popular boot camps in the past 2 years. Welcome to the show, Adrian.
Hey, Ian.
It's great to have you. Great to have you on the show. And as the crowd dies down, I know it's hard, isn't it? All the fame.
Follows you everywhere. It's terrible, isn't it? Yeah.
You do. So thank you for coming on the show. We had the pleasure of meeting up back in, was it November last year at Atomicon? When was it? October?
Oh, okay, yes. Yeah. I was going to say social media marketing world was the first time.
Oh, well, that was a long time ago. Yeah, that was that, I don't know, 2020.
Before
the unmentionable thing that's happened. So yeah, we had a fun time up in Newcastle, but it's great to have you on the show because
Thank you.
You're doing some really cool things. You don't just do the Ecamm Live Academy. You've got other things that are going on as well. You've got
That's right.
the YouTube and Kajabi. Tell us a little bit more about like what you're doing.
Yeah, and it probably makes a bit of sense actually, just to put it in context. I know people probably look and go, "Why has he got all these different random courses that he runs?" But I did start out my first and main product is our Pro Video Academy, where we help people get going like this, really simplifying it and saying, if you like the look of this, well, here's a list of the equipment and let me set it up, and it just works nice and easy for people. So we started from that, and then I find I'm talking to people saying, instead of recording it into memory cards and things and bringing it into card readers, I'm going, I don't suppose you've got Ecamm, have you? And the amount of people that would say to me, I think I downloaded it, but I never use it. And it felt criminal. So I was saying, right, we got to get you going on Ecamm and let me show you what this can do. And then we kind of moved from that to with YouTube. YouTube is absolutely where the vast majority of our customers first discover us. And so again, I'm saying, right, I need to help my customers to get going on YouTube and understand how it works. And then we have people come back to us saying, we love the way you run these academies. How do you do it? And we went, well, it's all on Kajabi, so let's teach people Kajabi. So it does make sense that, we start with this customer we've got them going on video, and now we can add all these other bits onto them that really are, I think, like you, Ian, it's kind of using the tools that we're using day in, day out. And it's lovely to be able to build training around it and refer it to other people. So that's really why we've got all these random courses that we do.
Yeah, and this is your website here that I'm just showing on the screen. So you got your Pro Video Academy, Kajabi Academy, Ecamm Live Academy, and YouTube Academy. And I just love the branding and the way you've done that. That didn't happen overnight. Good. This is something that you've been working on for years. But I love. That's right. They all work really well together, and it's kind of interesting what you were saying, because I've spoken to people who have downloaded Ecamm Live and then not used it, and I don't think it's just an Ecamm Live thing. I've heard people do that with other tools as well. There's this kind of overwhelm that I think people have in their minds. But what we're going to do today, or what I'm going to allow you to do, is just like show how simple Ecamm Live is. So that's what we're going to do. I can see we've got Katie Simpson is in the house. Katie is wonderful. She's been on the show. She says, I love Ecamm Network and the community. She's saying hello and is very impressed with your 1,500 stat of, the number of people that have gone through your courses. So
I don't know about a majority, but a lot of those have been through more than once. So actually, bums on seats would be a bigger number than that. but it's great.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So I suppose we should first of all talk about like what is Ecamm Live, and Ecamm Live is. I'd be interested to know what you think, how you would describe it. I would say it's a live video streaming tool, but what does that even mean? Can you maybe just give us a brief intro to what Ecamm Live is?
Yeah. You're right. And I can remember discovering this. I was using another web-based streaming tool at the time and found it a bit restrictive, discovered Ecamm and was just like, this is amazing. It's not telling me, right, your picture-in-picture is going to sit up there and you're going to sit here, and it's all very locked and set down for me. I can literally start from scratch and build up scenes, which we'll explain in a second, and just complete flexibility that no other software gives me, really, or not without a lot of hard work. So I think it's very much there initially as let's go live to Facebook and YouTube and these other channels. But more and more, I mean, I use this all the time. As I mentioned, instead of recording in a camera, I want to make a video for a course, or I want to do a sales page video. I record it in Ecamm. I don't need to live stream to use it. We've got customers that use it for recording a podcast show. They don't want to go live with it. They just want to be able to do that interview and capture that content and send it to someone to put it together for a show. Lots of great ways people are using it without actually going live. And I think probably like you are, Ian, somebody mentioned this to me the other day and he went, I've just had this light bulb. He said, I want to be able to record a podcast, but I think actually this could take away my editing. I could actually do that intro. I could move across straight into the live. I can end with this, and he went, I reckon this is going to take away my need to edit this. And I reckon you probably could actually.
Yeah, I think it's like the perfect live video tools. I think are the perfect antidote to perfectionism. And I don't know whether you struggle with this. We've had some conversations about this, but if you are a recovering perfectionist, recording your podcast or video in Ecamm Live just gets rid of that, because you just press that record button and you don't need to edit it. And it doesn't just record the video, it records the audio as well. So I think you're so right, and that's something I had actually forgotten, that Ecamm Live, it's kind of doing a disservice to call it just a live video tool, because it can be a replacement for Zoom as well with interview mode, and it can be a replacement for recording a screen and recording all these things, and so it does so much more than what it kind of looks like at the first. And we don't want to get too overwhelming. We're just kind of saying Ecamm Live does a lot. And would you say that maybe that is part of that initial overwhelm that some people might be thinking, because there's so many possibilities out there that people don't know where to start?
I agree. Yeah, and I think the more the team at Ecom are incredible. Ken and Glenn, the founders, the guys that are sitting making things happen over there. We all kind of keep throwing these requests in. It'd be great if we could do interviews in it. It'd be great if we could do these. And every time they add a new feature in, the downside is that for somebody new coming in, yes, there's a huge amount of options, but I do think it can feel overwhelming. And we're really trying. That said, I think from the initial navigation, you're just going to have this button at the bottom that says choose a destination, Facebook, go live. And you can simply just show up looking like this without any frills or branding or framing on there. And straight away, it is a tool, that you can get out and stream with. But you've got so much under the hood here that you can actually grow into. So I think that I would encourage somebody, not to be inspired by some of these flashy things and overlays and all the rest of it, but not be intimidated by it. Once you've bought it and you're paying your subscription, absolutely, you've got the money's worth just out of the basic plan and doing the basic features of it. But as you get time, learn these extra things, and you'll start. Week by week, month by month, you'll turn upon your show and they'll be going, oh, that's something new you've added in, and it just keeps taking you on a level.
Love that. Yeah, be inspired. And the stuff that we do on this show, like I've got some overlays and things like that. It might look fancy, but it's actually really easy to do in Ecamm. That's the first thing I'd say. And the second thing is, actually, you don't really need to do any of this. Just when you get started, just like bung your camera on, you could put a little logo on the top right, and that's that's what people on. I think it's important that things look good, but it's actually more the content and everything else that's important. I can see we've got some lovely viewers here. We've got Micah Flemons is in the house saying hello, viewers. We've got Steve Worthy watching on YouTube as well, saying hello, Ian and Adrian. I'm a massive Ecamm Live fan and user. And Katie is saying yes, instant editing for YouTube too. So so we should
also had a
carry on, Adrian.
Sorry, we had a play last weekend or the weekend before last as well into Zoom as well. That's something a lot of guys that come in say, can I use this for Zoom? We've all kind of been forced onto Zoom, and we probably all have a Zoom meeting every week, but people are saying, I can do all this cool stuff over here, this is really nice, but does this help me in Zoom as well? And actually, it really can do. And we spent a whole weekend doing this, playing around with things, even pulling the chat in from Zoom and displaying that on the screen and all these cool features. Again, that, what's typically been quite a dull, let's just go to a Zoom meeting, all of a sudden you can really jazz that up. And everything you're doing here, we can just send this screen straight across and out to Zoom. So another great use of it.
It's wonderful. Yeah. So you're kind of using Ecamm Live as a switching tool. So you're creating the scenes, and then you're like going between different ones. And also, if you're using like a bit more of a fancy camera, you can actually plug it directly into your computer, and Ecamm can use it. Before we go further and we look into how we get started, we have to say two things about, one thing in particular. And as a long-suffering, well, I used to be a long-suffering PC user. It's for Mac only, Ecamm Live. So if you are a PC user, unfortunately, it's not going to work on a PC. Now that I think is for a number of really good reasons. The first thing is Ken and Glenn, the founders of Ecamm Live, are Mac developers. And I think what I've found is that they just make so much use of everything that is Mac. So Macs used to be known as not that great for live streaming, but oh my goodness, what they have done with Ecamm Live, it is amazing. So that's the first thing. And second thing, like if you are a PC user, it is cheaper now than ever to actually buy a Mac. So you can be a PC user. And I actually, Adrian, you're probably going to hate me for saying this, but I actually really like Windows. I think it's a good operating system.
Really? Yeah.
I love that, really. But
I haven't touched it for 20 years probably, yeah.
But like, if what I'm trying to say is, okay, help me here, Adrian. I'm trying to, like, all my PC users, listeners are leaving in the droves. Yes. So what I'm saying is, like, I'm not saying I'm not forcing you to move away from a PC. Yeah. You can get what I've got. I've got an M1 Mac Mini, and this is my main computer, here. And it costs like I don't know, like $800-900,
$699, wasn't it? I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So so with Ecamm Live, you don't need like a mega powerful computer. Whereas like with OBS, which is another live streaming tool, you kind of when I run OBS, my my Mac Mini kind of sounds like it's going into orbit.
Is that right?
So
no, yeah, I could name probably a dozen people that I know that have bought a Mac Mini just to be able to do Ecamm, and I'll talk to them on calls and they'll go, well, this is my live streaming setup and this is my PC. And you know, some of those are in financial industries and things where their software is PC only, so they're caught the other way. But yeah, they can then use that PC and actually feed that in as an input into their Mac, so they can screen share from their PC into their Mac, and all these clever things that you can do. You're dead right, Ian. It's never been cheaper, more affordable to get into Macs than with this Mac Mini. And most of us got them now. It's replaced all our big Mac Pros and everything else.
I know. Yeah. No, it's definitely true. And you can even run Windows on a Mac. So I've got Parallels and I've got if you really want to go down that route. Katie Simpson say, Windows, really? Yeah. Let's move on. So like so you've downloaded Ecamm Live. And of course, the other thing is Ecamm Live. It's not a free tool. It's not like OBS. But what you are getting with Ecamm Live is you're not only getting an amazing tool, but you're getting the customer service. You're also kind of getting into the community, which is amazing. But you've downloaded Ecamm Live and you've opened it up. What do you do then next? How do we get started? Tell us, Adrian. How do we get started?
Yeah, totally. It'll look very different to how mine looks right now, because you've got all these little blank tabs that are up there, and you have. In fact, we could just do a very quick. If I go into my demo mode over here and share my screen, let's just come over here a bit. So
this is cool. Just for podcast listeners, what Adrian's doing is he's pressed a button, which is called Live Demo Mode, and he's able then to show us exactly what is on Ecamm. So we're seeing lots of windows on the screen, which this is like my main window, and then I can, from the side here, I can make all these other different ones appear and disappear. And each of those is, so we mentioned earlier on about scenes, and scenes is like how you would put together a PowerPoint presentation. You know, if you were turning up to an event, you're a speaker at Social Media Marketing World in a few months' time or something like that. You know, you'd show up with your slideshow presentation and all of this coming up. This is exactly how we come at this. And, you know, Ian, you would do this. I'm kind of doing the same thing, that I think, right. And you can actually see a hint up there of what I've got ready for tonight. You know, I've got an intro, then it comes to me, then I've got my comments, then I've got a slideshow. I'm going to demo a green screen and bring in a phone and writing on screen. All these cool things. I'm not doing it on the fly and going, oh, hang on a minute, how do I bring that one up? I've actually prepared scenes in advance that are up here and ready to go. And it can be as quick. So to start out with this, I think the simplest,
I would create, let's just have a quick go at it. I'll show you just how quick and easy this is. Sorry for the podcast listeners. Definitely come across to Ian's.
Well, it's a good, if you're listening to the podcast, I mean, we're going to do a good job, I hope, at explaining what's happening on the screen. But you can always go and watch the video. If you go to iag.me / what are we on now? Is it 153? I think it is 153.
Very
so
impressive,
yeah. So if you do that, so what Adrian's doing at the moment, just so to explain, is we've got the scenes window here, and you're creating some new scenes, and these are basically different ways of displaying things on the screen. So, carry on.
I can set these up to either. I've got one over here, for instance. I'll just take it down just so
of this video.
I can drop a video onto here if I've got a testimonial or a demo there. I just need to flick that around.
Months, and I didn't even know what I had on my hands.
I can come back and do so right now we're doing a slideshow. This is a big one that people say to me, how do I do a PowerPoint or a keynote presentation? And we can absolutely do that in here. So I start up here, and notice at the bottom of my window, this is a fairly new feature. That it used to be that if I close this down for a second, if I were to run, this is like my normal keynote window as I'm building this out. And it used to be that if I hit play to do a demo of this, it would take over the full screen, right? But actually now you can change this so it will play in a pop-up window. So I've still got my notes over here. And if I'd got notes for the slides, they would be appearing down this bit. But what I can do with Ecamm, I'll pull it over here just for sake of space on the screen. Over here, I can say, I want to do a camera overlay, or a screen share overlay. And I'm selecting my presentation from Keynote. And I can pull this thing up. I could actually have done this another way around and gone full screen on here, but I do like to kind of bring it in this way. I can even crop right to the edges of this, so I don't need to worry about any borders and things. Sorry, I'm trying to do it quick. I'm touching the wrong things. We bring that in like this, and I can take that up full screen. So now what is happening is when I click down here in my presentation, and I'm clicking through, I've now got this full screen presentation that has got all the animations included in it. And actually, if I think, well, hang on a minute, I want to appear on camera as well in front of that, well, I can now select over here and say, oops, sorry, I clicked the wrong button. I can click a camera over here, and maybe I think I'd like to sit in a little window on the front, but I would quite like to have this little border around me as well. And now I can do my presentation, and notice that line is kind of snapping as well to the centers and elements of this. So I create my slideshow presentation deliberately with that space over on the side there, that now as I'm walking through my presentation over here, all of that animation and stuff is going on. In fact, if I come out of this live demo mode, you'll see more so what I'm talking. It's fantastic that we can do presentations like this. I just find this so powerful. And again, this could now go over into Zoom if I wanted to. Everything that I've got here in front of me, I could open up Zoom. I could select what is called the Ecamm virtual cam, and I can send the thing over there. And as you just saw, that this doesn't take very long to put together. I can now cut back to this scene of me. And at the point where I say, right, now let's get into this presentation, I click on this new overlay, this new window I've got over here, a new scene that's about my presentation, and away I go. So yeah, it doesn't take much to build this up. If I were wanting to do an interview, I can very simply bring a guest to sit alongside me, or I can do similar to what Ian's done there and kind of put us both in boxes and put some detail around it. One of my favorites is just the ability to bring comments on screen. So I don't have any comments on here at the minute, but normally if I were here and this is the live feed coming through on my live, then this would be filling up with comments in the same way that it is over on Ian's at the moment. And I can have the comments on here right in front of me. And people love this feature that they can, not only am I dragging them across and picking out one or two, when it's a busy feed, it allows me to keep it there in front of me and they can see what I'm looking at. And I can quite easily go, yep, great one, Steve, great one, Katie, because they can see what I'm looking at. So that again, without sort of really going into some detail on this, they would be some of the basic scenes that would get started with. And it proves really powerful.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, in a sense, we've not really talked that much about live yet because it just shows you how powerful Ecamm Live can be before you even get stuff, stuck into that.
Yeah, this could be recording a course video, couldn't it? Or anything like that, that you think, right, I want to do this presentation. Or maybe you are speaking somewhere and they've asked you to record this in advance and send it to them. Yeah.
And it makes a massive difference.
Really
yeah, I mean, I've done presentations, particularly during the pandemic, where conferences went virtual, and people were just so impressed when, like, I was showing my slides, and they could also see me in a little circle on the screen, and it just adds a lot more. It looks more professional. It looks a lot more engaging as well. And the comments, so this is, I mean, with Katie's leaving some great comments. Katie is saying, I'm loving that you are still able to do this and live demo whilst being on an interview as well. And it is fun. And we can do, so this is something I actually haven't done much. I love, you reminded me, what you've done with the comments is you've shared one of the windows in Ecamm on the screen.
Yes.
And so, like, I've never done this before, but presumably this is like a new screen share thing. So that's there on the screen. And then if I change that to, what would I change that to? Ecamm Live, and then
Ecamm, and then it will give you a drop down to come down to comments. There you go. Yeah. And if you change that around, so if you click again on the pencil and change it from the wide to, or do that. Yep. I was going to say, come to custom.
Oh, I get you. You mean do it so
you can move it a bit anyway.
Aspect ratio to tall or something like that.
Or the custom one at the bottom, and then you can put it to wherever you want.
I'm going to do it the old way.
Yeah, and then crop it. But it allows you to take the comments bit at the top that looks very admin-y. There you go.
There we go. You see, that's quite posh.
And the other thing, what you might have noticed when I did it, it came up looking blue. Ian's is looking pink on here, and it is. But this is actually one of our little tips that we've been giving away, or we've got lined up to give away, that you can't actually change the color of those overlay tabs, but what it's doing is it's pulling that through from your background image. So you can change your desktop background color to then make your overlay like that come in a different color. Does that make sense? So if
it does.
Yours is coming in because your desktop is that bright color behind it. If it were green, then that overlay would come through green. So you can actually, there's little hacks as ways to be able to brand this as well. And yeah, people love it. To see the comments on like that and spot themselves on there is, I mean, this kind of moves into the live streaming bit, doesn't it? The way you can bring somebody out, Katie must be, you come on a live like this, you feel great when somebody calls you out and spots you. And I think I find it sad sometimes when a live can go on for 40 minutes or so and no one's even looked at the comments. And I think, listen, these people have taken time to comment over here. And this is what makes live different to making a YouTube video.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I've done that where I've been in there. I've been leaving about 10 comments. So the equivalent in a sense what Katie's doing. But I mean, how would you feel, Katie, if we just like didn't acknowledge you at all? I think you'd feel sad. And not only that, I mean, hopefully, we it's a silly example because we would never do that. But if you didn't know us and this was the first time and we ignored you, you probably wouldn't be back. You'd probably think, well, what's the point? So that is so important. Yeah,
at the same time, what a difference that does of bringing. If I went on Pat Flynn's live, for instance, and I just went, oh, that's great, I use that, and he went, oh, Adrian's on. Adrian's amazing at doing, I'd be like, whoa, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we forget how we can kind of elevate people really and just make them feel great. And sure enough, they'll be back for the next show. And it feels a lot more personal. It's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's the community aspect of lives is so important. And if you have just joined us, welcome. Let us know where in the world you're watching from. We are talking about Ecamm Live and getting started. I'm here with Adrian Salisbury. We're having a really good chat looking into how we can get started with Ecamm Live. So we've looked at how we can use this within presentations. We've looked at comments and things like that. What else can we do? Obviously, we can go live, but anything else that we can look at in terms of getting started with Ecamm?
Yeah, I think what we're doing right now actually is a fantastic use of this as an interview. That you can invite a guest. It used to be hard work, really. You had to have Skype open and you invite them into Skype and then you bring them in from there. This was a huge update when Ecamm built in the interview feature inside, and we can now invite somebody in, as I'm doing with Ian. I'm logged in from a page on Chrome. I can see the chat my end as well, and I can see what's going on, and I can come straight in here and do a live, and that works well for when we want to come on and, as we're doing here, be a guest sitting side by side doing a video. But as I say, we've got guys that are purely doing a podcast. It's all audio based. They don't actually want the video content, but it's a nicer way of doing it to be able to sit side by side, face looking at each other, and actually record that out as well. Ecamm allows us to do this isolated audio, so we can actually split that out, and you can have yours and your guests' feed separately, and it just makes it tons easier for editing. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, that's the option at the bottom. So this is available in Ecamm Live Pro. This is probably a little bit more advanced, but it is useful if you are recording a podcast to have it in separate tracks, because if like I was to have a coughing fit, or if I kept on interrupting Adrian by accident, then we can cut my bit out, and it just makes it a lot easier. In fact, if you're using a tool like Descript, which I use, you can just basically drag those audio files from Ecamm into into Descript, and then it will do it all for you. It's great. So there's some,
or if you find out, maybe you're not as advanced with doing, it's your first time you've brought someone on for an interview, and it's not till you get to the end that you realize your guest was much quieter than you were, and you can actually tweak that afterwards in your editing and just correct it.
That's a really good point. And so what you can do, so if I go into live demo mode again, so let's see if I can do this. Hopefully that's on the screen. Here's the, for podcast listeners, I've got a little window here called interview mode. And I just love the way this works, Adrian. It's amazing. So you just clicked on a link and then you popped up here, and then I just assigned you as guest one. And then that means that when I'm on my split screen, so if I go to there, this is, if I edit you, don't worry, it's not going to hurt too much. I could change you to guest two, and if obviously I don't have a guest two, so but it makes it just really, really easy to do. So I love
Ian,
that.
you could show as well. Sorry, just thinking as you've got that there, if you clicked on the camera overlays, you can see as well, or camera effects, you can see how actually you can edit my camera in the same. So maybe you'd got a guest on and the camera wasn't looking good. You can actually go in again. Sorry, podcast listeners, but you can go in and adjust the brightness, the saturation. You can zoom me in a bit. If you found I was sitting too small over here, you can zoom that camera in on me. You can actually, again, don't want to go advanced again, but I've got a green screen here. If I pulled this up, you can actually correct, and you could put a green screen behind me from your end. We had guys that were doing this start of the lockdown. A lot of churches suddenly forced to go online, and it isn't the pastor necessarily who's coming on. It's somebody in the congregation of the church that's been told, right, you're the most techie, you can sort this out. And they don't want to be on the live, but they want to produce this for a pastor standing there. And they're able to bring them in as a guest in exactly the same way that you're featuring me full screen now. They could do this with, I mean, I'm talking in the context of a church. This could be in any kind of virtual event, but it allows somebody to remotely produce it, really. And you're in control of the comments and the slides and who's coming up when, but you don't actually need to be the person on the live themselves. And I could just pull a green screen up here and you could edit it. You could bring an image in behind me or some different branding. It's extremely powerful. And I think this is what I mean when while this has the ability just to click go live and do that, there is so much more in here. And we absolutely love just people looking and going, oh, I reckon I could use that. And that looks like a good feature. And these little light bulbs go off.
Definitely.
Yeah, fantastic.
Definitely. And I think the one of the ways you can just have a go with this is just to play and mess around.
Yeah.
And what I'd probably, I don't know what you would say, Adrian, but one of the things I'd probably recommend is there's a new feature in Ecamm. I don't know whether this is on the beta version, but you can create a blank profile.
No, it is in there.
Yeah,
it's on the main package.
Oh, that's great. So you can create a new profile, which I can't do it at the moment because I'm already live.
I know.
If I clicked on that would create a blank profile, and I can mess around, and it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the rest of what I do, which is great. So that's maybe one thing to have a little play with. And of course, the other way is to join the Ecamm Live Academy, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that in a bit.
Yeah. There's a 14-day trial of Ecamm. You can it doesn't cost you anything to just take this down. It will put a little watermark in the corner. But other than that, go for it. Have a play with it. And you're right, Ian, those profiles, I mean, you saw I've got those 4 different academies. Well, each of those has got a different color. And I want, when comments come on screen, I brand them differently in each academy. And it allows me to create a profile for that. We've been doing this top tips for Ecamm Live that we're just running through this week. I create a new profile for it, and I can put all my scenes, my overlays, all the little graphics and assets and things in there. And then they disappear when I want to go into, one of my teaching programs and actually have a different setup. So profiles, fantastic. It's good to point out.
I'm very, very happy about profiles because I would love to say I'm like a really hyper organized person in real life. That would be a lie, but when it comes to Ecamm Live, I do like to keep things compartmentalized. I think that's a word.
Yes.
I like that. I like, if I'm doing different shows, I like to have things differently, and things like with the comments, like for example, Katie putting a comment on the screen. I'm using my branding for this particular show, but that's not going to be the same on other ones. So keeping those profiles separate would be great. Now, Katie's asking a question here. So let me just go into, she's saying, how are you seeing your bandwidth levels? And this is maybe something we could talk about, Adrian, about the different windows, because I don't know what you think about this, but if I go into live demo mode again, often I find, if I'm teaching somebody, this is quite overwhelming what you're seeing at the moment, but that's because I've got all the windows open. If you go to window, we can kind of get rid of all of these. Like, for example, I can get rid of bandwidth statistics, or maybe I can't. Maybe I have to close that one.
It should go.
It should go. It's not going for some reason. Maybe it's because I'm on live demo mode. But you can basically close all of those down and then just start from scratch. But that is where bandwidth statistics is. It's on the Windows and there. And it's just deciding not to close for me. And then we've got sound effects as well. So we've got, one of my favorite ones there. Have you got any kind of fun things that you like doing that we haven't talked about?
The Stream Deck, dare I bring it up as another? I was just thinking, actually, with what I tend to do is if I can get my scenes ready in advance, that the Stream Deck, for those that don't know, and I know Ian's a huge fan, the Stream Deck is like a switcher, isn't it? It's a box of buttons that I can allocate different things to those buttons. So I would put all of my scenes on there. So I know that, there you go, look at him with his 2, is it? Or, yep.
Well, kind of 3, actually.
3. Whoa. Had a baby by the looks.
Yeah. Been up to no good.
Mummy, daddy and baby Stream Decks, yeah.
You don't need 3.
But you can what I was getting to really was that you can allocate all these in advance. So if I know that I've got an intro, I've got me, I've got comments, slideshow, all these, I know the scenes I want, I can actually allocate them to buttons on my Stream Deck, and then I can close that tab because I don't really need to see it. And it's the same with my overlays. Rather than this big long list of overlays, if I know my show that is going to, at this point, have this overlay appear, I can allocate it to a button, and then again, I can minimize that. So it doesn't need to be I'm such a minimalist, really. If I can strip things off my desk, I do. The only thing I keep open all the time is my sound levels, because I do want to make sure that that little green gauge is going across there and shows that the audio's coming in. And it gives me a chance to just check that my sound level, my sound effects aren't suddenly way too loud, or playing a video isn't too quiet. Visually, it just gives me that cue to see that everything looks to be in sync. So that would be my kind of last keeper. I got to have the sound levels on, but actually a lot of the other ones I can take off. And if you're not interviewing, that tab can go. And so, yeah, stripping things back, just organizing that desktop as much as possible so it doesn't look too scary and overwhelming.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, a last little tip here. When people say all the time about kind of looking at the camera rather than looking down here at your computer screen, if you can put, what are you going to need to look at during the live? And it may well be like, for me, I want to see the comments. So I've pushed my comments right up close underneath where my camera sits above my monitor. So my eyes aren't needing to go all the way down here and back up to the camera. It's quite an easy little glance down. Or maybe it's your notes that you want to have there that you can quite easily come to without having to have this huge look away and then back to your camera.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. So many good things there. And I think what you said about the sound levels, that's good. You can change the levels of obviously your audio and your guest's audio. In fact, if you have interview mode, you can adjust the level of each person in that, which has been useful for me in the past, I have to say. So it's all great. And you know, I think just get started. Don't be overwhelmed. But we do need to talk about the Ecamm Live Academy. Just to say, by the way, this show is not sponsored by Ecamm. It's just we're fans. But I've been using Ecamm Live since 2016. It's actually kind of interesting because I first got into live video at the beginning of 2016. It was OBS is how I started, and I had to write an article and a course on how to use it, and because it was so complicated to use. And then I was a PC user at the time, and then Ecamm Live came out, and I bought a Mac, and I thought, ooh, this is good. So I've been kind of using both OBS and Ecamm Live since 2016, and I also use Wirecast as well for a time. Okay. But I'm so glad that I'm using Ecamm Live. So tell us a little bit more about the Ecamm Live Academy. Am I right in thinking this happens twice per year?
That's right. We did run it. We've run it. This will be the 12th academy that we've run. And when we first ran it, we were expecting this to be an online course. You know, there's 60 odd videos. They really work through from the first one being where to download it, how to have a first look around, you know, the basics over the navigation. And then we go into more detail right up to level 5, which would be our 5th day of training, is talking about the Stream Deck and all these more advanced things. But we ran this for the first time. And the feedback, the main thing we got feedback for was, we love this community. We love that you've created this safe space for us to practice and for stuff to go wrong. And it doesn't matter because everyone's cheering us on. And we just went, hang on a minute, we can't turn this into an online course because you totally lose that. So what we've done, we've ran it several times a year. This year, we're just opening twice. So we're going to start, this next one starts on Monday, and then it won't come around again till October. But we guard it like this, and it is a 2-week training, a cohort training group that we do. And on Monday, so people are signing up, they're joining at the minute. And on Monday, we release day one's videos that because you know this, Ian, you know, we've got international audiences. We've got we couldn't get everybody on the live at the same time to do the main training. So we say, you go away in this 24 hours and do day one's training, and then I jump on a live, and either whether that's the start of your day or the end of your day, I jump on a live once a day and just say, right, this is where we're going today. Here's your challenge for today. I'll see you tomorrow. And then we answer questions. So the training is dripped out across week 1 next week. And then we have the second week with no new training being thrown at you to actually just go, right, what do I really want to go into? I like that thing they did about branding, or I like doing an interview. And then you reach out to other people in the group, and you can organize interviews, and you can go live into the group. And it gives us a chance to watch in and cheer you on from the sidelines, give you some tips and advice. But yeah, above all, that's the videos are fantastic, and you get those videos for life. So joining now, you don't have to pay any ongoing subscription or anything. You come through once and you get those videos, plus you get all the updates as well. So when the new version of Ecamm comes out, which I believe we were being tempted with in a few months' time, we're going to be able to, we'll make new videos about that. And as a customer of ours, you will get access to all of those new videos as well. So that's kind of priceless. You know, that on its own is fantastic. But then to have a space where you can go, right, I'm a bit scared at this. And I absolutely love seeing those people who are like, I've sat here for half an hour hovering over this button, but I've just decided to go for it and actually go live. And I love it. And you get to the end of the 2 weeks and they're going, actually, I'm getting used to this. You know, I'm still sweaty palms, but this is better than I thought. And thank you so much for cheering me on. And it's that kind of vibe in there. And I feel super proud of it. Yeah, it's lovely.
Oh, the community is amazing. And if you want to find out more about this, you need to go to, got a special link for you. It's iag.me/Adrian. We've personalized it for you, Adrian. So that's where you need to go. That's the Ecamm Live Academy. And it starts on February the 28th. Am I right?
Yeah. So Monday. Yes.
So if you are listening to the podcast, obviously you will have missed it. Do not worry, because there will be another one. Any ideas when the next one's going to be? Is that in
late September, October, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But
that's coming. So don't worry. But yeah, this one is February the 28th. So if you're watching live or the replay, do head on down to iag.me/Adrian. And Katie's saying, what type of course is it again? Adrian calls his courses a cohort, I think, as they go through it at the same time. Really interesting that this type of course works really well. And I've been on a cohort course like quite a few years ago, and I found it like amazing. Just the fact that everyone is going through it together, you feel part of a community. And Adrian, you've just been an inspiration to me in terms of like the courses that I've created, and you've been really helpful with that. So I know that this works because the thing is with courses, if you are very, very dedicated, and if you've got a lot of willpower and self-control, maybe the off-the-shelf type of course will work for you. But for the rest of us, I think a course where you're actually with other people and who can help hold your hand through the process, I think that's definitely the way forwards.
Well, I think the fact that the proof of that really is we've got customers coming back round again. And one messaged me the other day, and she said, I'm coming back round for the 4th time. She said, and I'm blanking out my calendar for 2 weeks, pretty much. You know, she's all around the States speaking. I was going to say speaking at events. And she said, I love it, and I know the training, and I've got the videos there, but there's something about being in the group when you're watching other people and everyone's sort of challenging each other to go through it. And she said, I just really want to get it this time, and I want to, this is her marking out the time to go through it. And that really is what this cohort-based group is all about. It's and I think to me, the hybrid of the two really works, that you can go away and do the videos in your own time. You can pause it. You can have Ecamm open at the side and hang on, let me just do that. Okay, let's play again. I've been on courses where it's been totally live training and I missed one of the steps, and then I'm going, whoa, hang a minute, you're all moving on and you've missed, and I ended up coming off it going, well, I can't watch it now till the replay because I couldn't keep up. Or you're waiting for that one person that's not getting it, and everyone else is going, come on. So I think it works really well. The live time, the bit that you need to show up for or encourage you to show up for, is really just Q&A. And like we're doing here, someone saying, well, I'm trying to do fitness videos. How would this work? Okay, well, let's have a go and see what that would look like. And that's what the live bit is, which is all there as replays anyway. But the bulk of it you can work through in your own time whenever it suits you.
Sounds awesome.
we've got to touch on it in the fact that we've got some masterclasses this time around.
That's very true. So I was showing the website, and so see, I love this what you got here, and you've got a list of all the stuff that you're going to be doing on the part of the academy, and you've all this week you've got stuff going on, haven't you? Which will help.
That's
so
a live happening later today. Yeah. And then we've got these.
You got these
bonuses.
masterclasses.
So you would know Anna and Fulgens, who run the Ecam Network News, a lovely couple, and they just incredible branding without leaving Ecam. It's not a case of bringing in, clever things that you've had made for you or anything like that. They I don't know how they do it. Owen and I kind of sit and go, how have they done that? Well, they're coming in doing a masterclass for us, showing you how you can do a lot of this branding in there. And then Ian is going to be joining us as well. So Ian's going to be talking in there really about repurposing and things, and very much like what you're doing here, Ian, that this is a show, it's a podcast, it's no doubt a blog post, and you use it on social. All of these things is very clever to be able to say to people, it isn't just you're going live to Facebook, but let's think how you can use this and really squeeze as much juice out of it as you can. And then, as you can see, Betsy there is going to be doing some virtual escape rooms using Zoom. So this is going to be a bit different. So we've got some
fun.
And then if folk do go to this page, they can scroll down there and there's a stack of testimonials. It's lovely. It really encourages me to see these. Everyone that's gone through and has really, from all different walks of life, have said this has made such a huge difference to them, and just for a lot of them helped them survive this last couple of years. So it's an absolute pleasure to feel like we're putting this service on, really.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Adrian. It's been great to have you on the show, and I'm very, very excited to join you on the Ecamm Live Academy. Do check it out at ieg.me/Adrian. And Katie's saying, I recognize that guy, and Anna and is it Fulgens? That his name?
Fulgens, yeah.
Fulgens, yeah.
Anna and Fulgens, yeah.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Adrian. It's been great to have you on the show and to hang out with you. But we are out of time. That went quick, didn't it? So I will be 154 will hopefully be happening this Thursday. We haven't quite planned what's happening, but we do have some amazing guests coming up next week. We've got Shelley Rosland on the show, which I'm very excited about. That's going to be great. And lots of other cool things happening as well. I can see we've got Reg in the house saying, thanks, Adrian, watching on YouTube. Thank you, Reg, for joining us again today. It's been awesome. Always awesome to see you. But that's it for this week. We'll be with you very soon with another Confident Live Marketing show. But until next time, I encourage you to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of Confident Live Video. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Make sure you subscribe at iag.me/podcast so you can continue to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of live video.
And until next time,
Toodaloo.